Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about this guy and why he's getting so much hate on his new game, Greed of Man. So another YouTuber by the name of Big Fry TV also made a pretty in-depth video on this whole situation. So I'll leave the link to his video down in the description. So a few days ago, whilst doing his bad games night, Moist Critical downloaded and played a game called Greed of Man. He ran around for about 30 minutes before he realised that this game is nothing but an asset flip and a phishing scam. But after, he does a bit of research on the developer himself. A 17-year-old who goes by the name Nick is a game developer who posts updates on his games to his TikTok page that has about 750k followers. So it's pretty safe to say that some people were interested in his games, and his first project, Tomorrow's Past, was being showcased as a GTA-like open world game where you can do and be whoever you want, but it was clear that this was just purely made up of pre-made assets that he'd bought from the marketplace. And obviously anyone that has no idea what it's like to make a game, a lot of his TikTok audience were quite hyped for this game and were awaiting a release date. Someone even asked him through his comments when this game would be coming out, and Nick doesn't reply much other than March, which March comes and goes and there's still no game. So what happened? Was he pushing himself to the limit to try and get this game out as soon as possible? No. Nick himself released a video explaining all.
About a year ago today, I started work on a huge project that was way out of scope of what I was capable of. I was planning to make a multiplayer game where you could own businesses and stuff with your friends. Basically, I was just trying to make a game that already existed, GTA Online. And this became a huge issue as of a couple weeks ago when I realized that my workflow was not going to finish this game in time. This game would take multiple years, if not tens of years, to complete if I continued doing this on my own. And when it would inevitably come out, it would still look like crap, like you see here. My game used to look amazing, and it looked incredible, and of course that was because I was just using a bunch of pre-made assets that I bought off the store. This is just a common case of a developer, such as myself, biting off more than he can chew.
And like he said, there was no way in hell that he was going to be able to develop this game by himself, and that it would literally take decades to do. So did he have a moment of clarity? Did he realise that he was in way over his head? No. 2 weeks later, he posts another video showcasing his new game called Worlds of Fape, a strategy game where you build your empire basically from building to building and eventually being able to build it across the globe.
Is the Earth. Better yet, you can zoom into the Earth and you can see the different buildings, such as New York City. Now you might be thinking, well, I can do this on Google Maps, that's not that interesting. But this is actually inside a game engine, which means I can make a game out of this. What if I made a game where you start out in one little building, and then you build up your own army and you expand from building to building, taking more and more territory of the city? You could use specific buildings to do specific things. Like you could make this building your armory, this building your storage, this building your headquarters. You could even set up some sort of dock so you can make boats for trade networks. Just imagine building your empire to the size of an entire country, and then being able to trade with other countries around the globe. And then imagine going to war with these other countries.
And the game even got an early access page on Steam for about $10, but unfortunately the game didn't go so well. But that wasn't it. Nick had another bright idea, a light bulb shone above his head, and he thinks, why don't I just make another game? And again he kicks off the promotion for his new game, Greed of Man. But people were starting to see through it pretty quickly. People have pointed out, why would you try and make another game as you have failed to deliver on the past two? Just give up at this point. But this time Nick claimed that he was up to the challenge, but in order to get the project going he needed funds. So he sets up a Patreon and claims that he's going to use the money he made from World of Fate to fund his new game Greed of Man. And along with the Patreon, which was making about $3,000 a month, Nick began yet another campaign for the Greed of Man, but this time saying that the game would be free, or so he claimed. Some time goes by and finally Greed of Man hits Steam for $30. Yeah, the game that he claimed was going to be free wasn't. Big shocker. Also, he claimed that he was going to shut down his Patreon once the game released, which he hasn't. And in this game, there is virtually nothing to do other than signing up to become a police officer, getting a uniform, and that is it. You run around doing nothing, and there's no money that you can earn in this game, and even if there was, there's nothing to spend it on. And another game developer by the name of Evo Ferreira called out Nick for scamming people with these asset flips, and even recreated Greed of Man within 3 hours.
Nick, this is following up on my most recent video. Within around 3 hours, I have created this game, which has your building system, and is made with the same copied assets from the Unreal Marketplace. These assets are the same as you used in your game Greed of Man, and as you can tell from the game, although the building system is a little scuffed, the game took me a total of 3 hours. This just proves that your game Greed of Man is not worth the $30 you claim it is. This took me a total of 1 minute and 51 seconds to add some lights into the buildings. Was that really that difficult? Is this game really worth $30, or are you just wanting more money and you don't care about the community?
3 fucking hours it took for this guy to recreate Greed of Man. 3 fucking hours it took for this guy to recreate what Nick had been showcasing for months. Honestly, I think it's quite disgusting and tragic to see what this guy has been promising and to see what he has delivered. And the greed of this man is truly astonishing. If you enjoyed today's video, leave a like, comment and subscribe. And as always, I'll see you again in the next one.